Hey guys, I'm Fancy. Sarah. Can we not? I can't hear you, Sarah. Sarah, are you kidding me? Sarah.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. Okay. Start again.
All right.
Hey guys, I'm Fancy.
Hi, I'm Sarah.
Can you hear me? And you're watching the Good Wives Network.
Okay. All right.
You're going to mute something.
I'm muting you down here. I've got like 4 different things going right now. Apparently it's not going to let me read the outline while I'm on here.
What do you mean it's not going to let you read the outline when you're on there?
It's not. If I click over to the outline to pull it up, hold on. If I click over, can you hear me?
Difficulties. I can hear you.
Okay. If I click over to the outline, I think it's going to cut my mic off because it just did.
Can you put it on your tablet?
Let me try to do that because I was actually trying to flip it. I was trying to do it the other way, but let me try it that way.
Oh, hey guys, everybody, thanks for joining us today. You are watching the Good Wives Network, and welcome back to Murdered by Design's Crime of the Month. So thank you all for joining. Let's let Sarah get some technical difficulties. She's new to StreamYard, so please give her just a moment of grace here. How is everybody today? Monday. Things are going well.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this story.
Okay.
And let me see here. I had no idea that it was going to flip me out like that.
Okay, let's just hang on.
Let me get this.
Did you guys catch my live from earlier today? I did an expose on the tragic passing of Garrison Brown from Sister Wives. We talked a little bit, trigger warning, about suicide and COVID and how COVID really heightened those types of those feelings, those types of cases. So I don't know if you guys caught that earlier. I was pretty excited about it. Let me know when you're ready, sir.
Okay, I'm still working on it.
Working on it. Okay. No problem.
Yeah. So did they ever come up with a idea of why he might have done that? And did he leave a note or anything?
I don't think he left a note. He had a gunshot wound to his chest, and his roommate said he had been struggling with alcohol, depression, and he was arguing with a ex-girlfriend, though she didn't say who. And I know that he was having problems with his father. They said that he tried to reach out to him recently, and it didn't go well. So I think that I just think that that's all the different things. He was also in the military, so there could have been something that happened because of that. A lot of our service members, I don't know if he ever went to combat or anything. I didn't really follow that, but a lot of our service members, take their lives after seeing horrible things. So I don't know on that front. Garrison Brown.
That's so unfortunate. It looks like here that it's verifying me in right now.
Good.
So that I can pull that.
So we'll flip this around. I'll do my little intro first, and then you can read yours afterwards. That way we can continue moving along.
Okay. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know why this is what's happening.
It's okay. Just get it fixed. It's no problem. I'll just read mine, and then we'll come back to you, and then we'll go on there. So, hey guys, I'm Nancy, and 9 years ago, I decided, based on the urgings of my mentor and acting coach, Amy Linden, to start a little production company. We've been through a lot of changes over the years, and today we have what you're looking at, the Good Wives Network. The GWN is a network for women by a network of women and a few awesome gents. We cover high social impact stories and provide programming for today's women and their families during a period of time that I think it's rather hard to be a woman. I started off in the industry straight out of high school, but I'd been on stage since the age of 6. I took a 20-year hiatus to raise my kids. And during that time, I have worn many hats: wife, mother, server, retail manager, student, and entrepreneur. I failed as many times as I have succeeded, but my mother taught me that if you don't stop trying, you never really fail. I've studied criminology, fashion and graphic design, musical theater, and I am currently finishing up a Bachelor of Science degree in forensic psychology. After that, I plan to continue my education into either law or further into the field of psychology. And my husband, he thinks that I should write my dissertation on the case that made me a leading crime expert, Gypsy Rose Blanchard. I've been featured in 2 documentaries, one on the Reels channel and one on A&E. And we released in 2019 our 13 episode podcast covering the case called The Good Wives Guide to True Crime on all major podcast platforms. Check out season 1 for Gypsy, and then give our second season where we deep dive into several cases and interview tons of industry professionals. I can't wait for what we intend to bring you this year. In the next few months, the Good Wives Network will be coming direct to your TV on Amazon, Android, Apple TV, Roku, and more. And we are super excited. Did you get it, Sarah?
No, it is still waiting. It says it's going to be coming soon, but it is not coming.
Oh my.
So I'm trying to figure out. I mean, it's literally like frozen right now, trying to pull
Do
the.
you maybe need to pop out and do that, or I don't
Yeah,
know what to
yeah,
do.
yeah. Why don't I do that? Let me pop out real quick, and then
Right.
I'll come right back.
All
Thank
right,
you.
I'm just going to talk about some of the things that we're going to be doing over the next couple of months while we're waiting for you. How about that?
I'm super excited. Yeah. And did you want to talk anything about the entertainment clip?
Well, yeah, I think
Oh,
we're going to do that too. I can talk about that and how you're going to be covering the Oscars a little
sure.
bit, and then we have a new podcast that we'll be starting. So let me go ahead and remove you so you can go out, and then I'll talk about that. Yeah. Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Good. No
Bye.
problem, honey. Just let me know when you're ready. Okay. So, let me kick her from the studio. There we go. All right, guys. So we have been working steadily to get back into the swing of things, our normal programming that we've done here for years. Colleen and I started this channel many years ago. Murder by Design is what it started off as. And we loved that. I think it was Chef's Kiss. She and I have done a great job, and Colleen is still hanging around, even though you guys say she isn't. She's just working behind the scenes right now, due to some of the little problems we're having with others. But we started this together, and we built it. We built this platform, and in 2022, we decided to purchase our own network. And it was up for about a year. It has been down for a little while, and we will be bringing it back up in the next couple of months. So we've got a lot planned. I've got Morgan coming back with Lipstick, Lashes, and Lies. That is Love Gone Wrong. We've got Jeff Ignatowski, who does a wonderful series called Serial Killers Around the World. We have Michelle, who's going to be returning doing her Nature Coast Living. We've got Courtney, who is a beauty influencer and shares the life of a mother of 3 children and her hectic life. And she's super great. I can't wait for her to come back and do some of that. So we've got a lot of content that is coming out. Sarah and I plan to do, like I was talking earlier, we're going to be looking at these 3 books. And we can do this with our Book of the Month Club over on Patreon. So this is My Daddy is a Hero, Lena Durhally. A book by Robbie Ludwig called Till Death Do Us Part. And then the True Story Murder Memoir and Mea Culpa by Michael Finkel. So these two right here, this is the Chris Watts case. We interviewed Lena. So we've got that interview. And then this is the Christian Longo case. And so Christian Longo and Chris Watts, both family annihilators. So we're going to do a series on family annihilators. And I'm sorry. Oof. So Sarah actually thinks that Chris Watts could have seen the Longo case in 2001, and he might have set out to kind of copycat him. There's lots of similarities. I had never thought of it that way. I just kind of thought of it as just a regular family annihilator case. But we've got that. We're also going to be starting this new podcast that is dedicated to the entertainment industry. I don't know if you guys remember, but my dearly departed best friend and partner, Christina, loved to cover those things. She loved to cover the Duggars. She covered, she liked to cover those different types of things. And I'm from the industry, so I have a lot of friends that we've interviewed and done stuff with. Like I interviewed Amy, my mentor, I was talking about. We interviewed a script writer. We've done a couple different things with that, and I'm really excited about those. It's called That's Lunch. So we'll be doing that kind of podcast. I'm super, super excited about it. How is everybody today? I'm so sorry that we're having some technical difficulties with Sarah. Thank you, Belle. I know true crime has always been something that I have been passionate about. My kids always say, oh, mom's watching people killing people again. That's what they used to say. And because that's almost exclusively all I watched for at least a 4-year period of my life. But my fascination with true crime started when I was 11, 12 years old. And one of the reasons for this was, so I had this best friend in the children's theater that I was involved in. And I was supposed to go over to her house and spend the night. And of course I was grounded because I was grounded a lot. My mother just grounded me all the time. Half the time I didn't know why, but that was God's way of keeping me safe that night, because that night her father, who was a wonderful man, I really loved and adored him, and he snapped. He was married to my other friend mother, and he was in children's theater with us too. And she was kind of an overbearing woman. I loved her dearly, though. She was the only person I would let do my eye makeup when we were getting ready for I know Orson and Orrin Welles were going to do that one too. Okay. When we were getting ready to go on stage and stuff, I would only let her do my makeup. But he walked outside to they were in an argument. He walked outside to his truck, came back inside with a pistol, shot her, picked up the phone, called 911, and said, I've just shot my wife. And next morning we all heard about it. And it was a shock to everybody. We would never think that he would have done that. I mean, ever. And so that was my first foray into death and true crime and all of that. And so when I was about 12 years old, my mom finally took me to the library by myself, dropped me off. And I was like, oh my God, I can go over in the adult section without my mom telling me what to do. Thank you guys. It really was. It was very shocking for all of us. It was really hard for us all to deal with. We did not know what to do. I don't even know what happened to my friends. I have no idea what happened. It was really tragic. It really kind of messed all of us up a lot in the community that we were in. We were in a very close-knit children's theater community. We hung out all the time. The mothers all hung out. It was really, it was a horrible time in my life. But when I was 12, my mother took me to the library, and I finally was able to go over to the adult section without her. And I thought I was going to get in trouble. Like, I really thought that I was like in trouble. So I ran to like the very first, spinny little thing with all the little paperbacks on it. And I pulled out this book right here, Small Sacrifices by Anne Rule. And it was Diane Downs. And I was like, oh my God. I read it in like a night. And I was fascinated by it. And that began my whole, like when I got it, it was so funny. I grabbed it and I ran back out and all these other books. So I like shoved it in the middle of the books. And I was hoping that they wouldn't even notice, but the lady, I was so scared when the lady got to it and she's like, oh, Diane Downs. You're going to like that one. And she just scanned it, and went on. I was like, oh my God. I got it home and I was reading it under the covers with my light. My mom caught me one night. And she's like, what are you reading? And I was like, I'm reading this story about a lady who killed her children. And my mom was like, oh, you mean Diane Downs. Let's go watch hold on. There we go. All right, let's see. Let's go watch the Burning Bed. I think it was Burning Bed. Was it Small Sacrifice? Farrah Fawcett was in Burning Bed, but she was also in Small Sacrifices. And after that, I was hooked. You got it all taken care of now, Sarah? We cannot hear you.
Okay. Sorry. It is absolutely not going to let me pull up the outline.
Okay, then I'll just read it, I guess. It's okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Next time we can print it out or something.
Yeah, I'm like literally in tears right now. Okay. But I'll go ahead and just give my introduction. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know what it is. So my name is Sarah.
Yep.
And you guys may have heard of me on social media now as called Pink Hat Sarah, which I find absolutely hysterical. I love it because I never thought that my custom one-of-a-kind couture Kentucky Derby hat was actually going to become a thing on social media. So I think it's great. And if you guys want to follow me on TikTok, my handle is Sadie Beth 1, SADIEBETH 1. And I love all my followers. I really do. I truly appreciate all of you guys. I check all your messages. I respond to everybody. I think that everyone matters and everyone is very important, and I don't take anyone for granted. So a little bit about my background is I have college degrees and decades worth of experience in radio and television, marketing, advertising, promotions, public relations, media, mass media, media law, and media law pre-law studies.
Wow.
So it's something that, I've spent 20 years on. So I just want to thank you guys for being here. Thank you for going through the technical difficulties. I did not know that the StreamYard was going to work like this.
It's okay.
Because when I'm live on TikTok, I can be live on TikTok, yet pull up other source materials to use at the same time. So, so I apologize.
And I want you guys to know this whole thing is all Sarah. Everything I read today, Sarah is who did this, not me. I want to give credit to her, but let's go ahead and open the show with our opener.
Yes, I was up all night long. I hope that you guys enjoy it. I can't wait to see your questions, and I love engaging with the audience. So I'm really excited about this project. It's very dear to my heart because I have been following this story for many years.
Okay, so let's do the opener real quick and the trailer, and then we'll go on. How about that?
Sounds great.
Okay, good.
I don't have
will pre-warn you, you might not like the truth. We were in a very tight-knit family. April 26th, 2010, that's the day that we adopted Natalia. We had no idea what we were dealing with. She's not 6.
She was an adult. You could just tell. I'm like, whoa.
Natalia was told her new birthday at the orphanage in Ukraine.
She threatened to stab my sons.
I definitely didn't feel safe around Natalia.
You've adopted a kid and now they're trying to kill you. I mean, it's the stuff of a horror movie.
She tried to poison and kill my wife. One night, I opened my eyes, and Natalia is standing at the foot of the bed with a knife in her hand.
She's tiny. These stories don't make sense.
You just don't know. It's your Barnetts.
The prosecutors went to Ukraine.
Слышишь, тут приехали молодые люди насчет твоей Наташи.
To track down Natalia's biological mother.
I'm charged with 2 counts of child neglect, is that correct?
Maybe there's more than one villain in this story. Michael accuses Kristine of beating Natalia.
My mom is definitely not 100% innocent.
Bye-bye.
You lied because she told you to lie.
Yes.
It's like a Rubik's Cube. Just when you think you have it solved, you find out you don't.
We were all abused! I hate this.
Did you want to hurt them?
It's all gonna come to light.
It'd be very good if you just quit talking. We're in deep, deep trouble.
Well, kicking down the stairs, we said we're not going to say, right? Oh, still have my microphone on.
You got a seatbelt? Buckle up.
So that's, wow. That's the curious case of Natalia Grace. And I'm sure you've all heard the sensational story of the Ukrainian-born orphan suffering from a rare form of dwarfism who was accused of masquerading as a child while actually being a full-grown homicidal sociopath adult accused of trying to murder an Indiana family that had adopted her in 2010. And so if this story sounds familiar to you, you may remember that it closely follows the storyline of a very popular horror movie called Orphan, which was released 1 year prior to her adoption in 2009. In that movie, a young Russian orphan is adopted by an American family who later discovers that she is a full-grown 30-year-old psychopath, homicidal adult, suffering from a rare genetic disorder that has basically stunted her growth and kept her frozen in the body of a child. Esther completely tries to destroy and murder her entire adoptive family and anyone that gets in the way. And it's really important to keep this Hollywood movie in the back of your minds as we begin to dive into the case of Natalia Grace. And here is the trailer from the 2008 movie by Warner Brothers.
We're seeing kids for the first time this weekend. I'm ready to adopt.
Adopting an older child is not an easy decision.
My name is Esther.
Why aren't you down at the party?
I've never really seen the point of it. I guess I'm different.
There's nothing wrong with being different, you know.
This is an extraordinary little girl. She's very mature for her age. You seem to have made quite a connection.
Is this your house?
It's your home, too. You're just as much part of this family as Danny and Max.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
This is our new student, and I'd like you all to make her feel very welcome today.
Oh, look. Little Bo Peep texts me. She wants her outfit back.
Esther, what are you doing?
Something's happening to cause Esther to feel this way. I think there's something wrong with Esther. We need to know what we're dealing with. Trouble does have a way of finding her.
What kind of trouble?
My name is Dr. Varava. I'm calling from the CERN Institute.
I don't understand. How can they have no record of her being there?
There has to be some explanation.
The orphanage has never heard of her.
don't think Mommy likes me very much.
Why was she at your hospital?
Oh my God.
I love you, Daddy.
I can't do it anymore.
I have a surprise for you, Mommy.
What are you doing? What did you do?
That's the story. That's the glory of love.
Esther? Esther?
So that
Wow.
was the orphan. Yeah. I mean, it's so similar.
Has anybody have you seen the movie Orphan?
I have, yes. It was great.
Okay.
I liked it. Yeah.
Did you? Okay. Yeah. It's just, I always want people to keep that in the back of their minds when they begin to speak about this story and think about this story, because so many people believe that Orphan is based off of Natalia Grace. And that is absolutely 100% false. That
Well,
movie
I
came
would
out
think,
long before she did.
right, but I think it might have been where Kristine gets her whole story from, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. I can give you a little bit of information on that. Like I said, this story is dear to my heart because my mother was actually an executive director and an instructor at the University of Purdue. So I had family in that Westfield area, the Lafeyette area. So it was in the current news cycle when this stuff occurred many, many years ago. And so then I ended up becoming actually involved closer with the story, with having some personal experiences with Natalia and her family. But I will say that I definitely believe that they used that movie as an angle.
Oh, absolutely. So you said you've got some direct contact with everyone, and I think that's really great. I'm glad that you're going to be able to share these inside scoops with us.
There's so much to discuss. There's so much to share. I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, there's no way to cover all of this in 1 month.
Well, that's how I felt about Gypsy, when we started unraveling the onion, peeling this onion back.
Oh, this
going.
is like
the biggest onion I've ever seen,
This
But
is a
was similar.
5-pound bag of onions.
Onions, like you keep peeling an onion and peeling an onion and peeling an onion. And so we came up with the idea to name our series here The Enigma that is Natalia Grace. And for those of you that are not familiar with the word enigma, the definition is a person or thing that is mysterious, puzzling, or difficult to understand. And so in the next few weeks, we'll be breaking down the case of Natalia Grace, the Ukrainian-born orphan who was brought to America at the tender age of 4. Sarah, can you give us a little bit about the dwarfism that she suffers from and some of the different medical conditions that she has? Can you tell us a little bit about those?
Yes. Yeah, I'm going to do this off memory, guys. I don't have my outline in front of me, but it is
if you leave anything out from your
I've
outline.
got it. Spinal dysplasia, congenital dwarfism. It's extremely rare. There's only about 35,000 people worldwide that have suffered from that. She also suffers from club foot, severe scoliosis. She has a pelvatory deformity. It makes it virtually impossible for her to walk. She has to, basically limp on one side. So she's very small in stature. She also suffers from conjunctures throughout her body, which really affects her hands. She basically cannot hold or grip anything with her hands, and the conjunctures they travel throughout her entire body, making it nearly impossible for her to perform any everyday tasks, simply as picking up a fork or a spoon, or to walk or even to stand is extremely difficult for Natalia.
Yeah. So she was first adopted at age 4 by the Chacon family, who resided in New Hampshire. And during the course of the 2 years she was with Gary and Diane Chacon, she was allegedly trafficked to several different families within the little person community. She was taken to the national LP conventions as the Chacons literally tried to sell her for the low price of $100,000 to various different families. Over the course of these 2 years, it is believed that Natalia was loaned out to at least 6 different families and was constantly passed around. While this may sound hard to believe, it is completely legal in the United States to loan or rehome adopted children out and pass them around. If a family wants to get rid of the child they adopted, they have the right to sign that child away to anyone they please. There are absolutely no rules, no regulations, or laws put into place for these types of human transactions. And I mean, Sarah, that was something that we looked into and we're going to be discussing in the upcoming ones. And it was shocking. The was it 2020 or
60 minutes? 60 minutes. Yes.
60 minutes
60 minutes
that you sent me.
Yes.
And that was chilling. They put these kids on display in many different ways. I've seen picnics, I've seen, meet and greets, but this one that you showed me was probably the most disturbing one. They make the kids walk up and down like on a runway. And it's basically
it's like a pageant.
Yeah, and it's
like
basically
a
a feeding frenzy for, pedophiles, in my opinion.
It is. I call it the pedophile pageant because it is just so creepy. You see these kids and they're literally strutting, one hand on their hip, and they're even putting makeup on the boys, and they're getting these all dolled up. And most of these are these are all older children.
Yeah.
These are older children. Keep that in mind. So we're talking about teenage to preteen. And literally around the room, it is filled with people just sitting there like they're at an auction,
right,
with their notebook that has been passed out to them, the pamphlet with the description of each child. And you see them sitting there looking at the child, prancing up and down, being put on display. And then they're looking back down at their paperwork. And it just gives me the most disgusting feeling inside. I just see so much danger there.
Right. And we just experienced something like this with my former co-host, who, she basically did the same thing with her daughter. She picked her off of an internet website, and it was like she could pick out, oh, she's the worst one. She's got this and she's got that and she's got this, and no regulations, no freaking checks for anything. Just, yep, here you go. You want to take this horrible kid home and give her a life, then here you go. And I'd never met somebody who'd actually done it before, and it was so jarring to me to figure out you can just pick a kid off the internet. What do you mean?
And then if you don't want them, you can just return them like a dog that you're just giving back or putting in the pound like an animal shelter.
Right. So very little is known about Gary and Diane Chacon, as they were not involved in the wildly popular 2023-2024 ID docuseries that we just played the clip of, The Curious Case of Natalia Grace. And to this day, they have yet to release a statement. At the age of 6, Natalia was officially given up by the Chacons and was adopted by Michael and Kristine Barnett in 2010. And it's important to note that Kristine Barnett also refused to participate in the ID docuseries as well. She's writing a book.
Yes.
Sarah, is that what she's claiming?
Yes. Yes, she is writing a book. She is refusing to release any statements. She's refusing to be part of any documentaries. Even though in this documentary, she is exposed a lot. And when I say exposed, you'll understand what I mean later on when you see the pictures.
Oh my God.
But yes, she is writing a book and she wants to get all her money off of the book.
Look at this. So Cinnamon Hot says, right, like YouTube family channel couple rehomed their little boy when they found out he really wasn't terminal.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. Wow. And yes, it is heartbreaking. It's very dangerous what these people are doing. The 60-minute thing, it opened my eyes because it was these two women that were fighting for these kids that they had found out had been rehomed through their own group. So the Barnetts were a couple. They already
And
had.
let me also add that they were fighting to get that girl and boy removed because they found out that the parents were both, mother and father were both pedophiles.
Right. So no background checks are being done on these people. They're just whatever. So hold on. I'm sorry. Oh, excuse me. So the Barnetts were a couple that already had 3 young sons, and they lived in an affluent area of Westfield, Indiana. Natalia Grace thought that she had finally found her forever home, and within the Barnett family. And sorry, I'm trying to do a couple of things here at the same time, but that was not to be. Only 2 years after being adopted by the Barnetts, Michael and Kristine went to court in 2012, and they petitioned a judge to legally change Natalia's age from 8 to 22 years old. And 22 is a very important number. I'm going to let Sarah tell you in a minute why. But with the stroke of a gavel, Natalia became an adult, eligible to drive, vote, buy alcohol, and even purchase cigarettes, among other things. Her birth date was changed from September 4th to September 4th. September 4th, 2023 to September 4th, 1989. And Sarah, can you tell us why it was?
I'm sorry. No, that's September. No, September 4th, 2003.
Oh, 2003. Okay. September 4th, 2003 to September 4th, 1989. And Sarah, can you tell us why it was so important that she had to be 22?
It was vitally important that she be exactly 22 years old at the minimum, because in the state of Indiana, a parent is no longer financially responsible for their child once they reach the age of 22.
Right. Outlandish history, that's a really great question. She said she has no hint of another accent than ghetto now. If she came over at 6, why was there no language barrier?
Okay, I can answer that.
Okay.
Yes, I can answer that completely. You have to keep in mind that she was in a group home, a group orphanage in the Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
Just at the, from birth until age 3.
Mm-hmm.
They of course want to teach the kids English so that they can try to get them better homes.
Right.
Also, there's not a whole lot of interaction that goes on.
Right.
So it wasn't like she was being spoken to by an adult. She wasn't being taught. There was no preschool. There were no games. It was just literally they would feed the children, cover their basic necessities, keep them locked up in rooms. So she really didn't have a whole lot of interaction there, because that is something that, people ask. So then she is comes to the United States, and she's
At
over
4,
here, and she's
right?
adopted at 4. Yes.
Okay.
She was adopted at 4. So it wasn't until she came to the United States at the age of 4 that she actually began to have interactions with adults and children.
Right.
And so there wasn't really that much of a language barrier. I mean, I'm sure it was very hard for her at the beginning, at 4, but it would basically be as if you were teaching a child to talk for the first time, but they were 4 years old instead of 4 months old.
Right.
So that's why there was no accent or language barrier, because they literally taught her how to speak. And, that was the first time she'd ever had any type of personal interaction, loving or otherwise, from any other human being, any adult, any attention.
Right. Okay. So then immediately after the hearing, the Barnetts moved Natalia out of their home and into an apartment in Westfield, Indiana, to live all alone and fend for herself. And remember, guys, she is technically 8 years old at this time. Okay.
Right.
So,
and she's 30 inches tall.
She's 30 inches tall. So Natalia lived in that apartment alone for a year and was denied a renewal on her lease the following year after the property manager had received so many complaints from Natalia's neighbors. Upon receiving numerous complaints, having the police contacted numerous times, and after being reported to DCS several times, Kristine Barnett decides to move Natalia to Lafeyette, Indiana. She put her in a high crime town that Christina alleged said was filled with trash people who wouldn't care. What a great mom. Kristine also thought that moving Natalia over to another county in Indiana would also help put an end to the ongoing police and DCS investigations. But she was wrong. So in 2013, Kristine moved Natalia into a 3-story apartment that was virtually a death trap for the disabled 9-year-old girl in the crime-ridden town of Lafeyette, Indiana. Natalia had to climb 4 flights of stairs to reach her apartment door. Shortly after moving Natalia to Lafeyette, Indiana, the entire Barnett family packs up and moves out of the country to Canada. Michael and Kristine Barnett took their 3 biological children, who their oldest son, Jacob, was due to start college. And if Jacob Barnett's name sounds familiar, you may have seen him and his mother, Kristine, on various talk shows, including Good Morning America. Jacob Barnett is a prodigy and math genius with an IQ higher than that of Albert Einstein's. He also suffers from Asperger's, now, obviously just on the spectrum, and severe autism. And Kristine became famous from writing a book entitled The Spark, which chronicles her self-proclaimed journey to discovering and unlocking Jacob's full potential and giving herself full and complete credit for creating him into the genius that he is. But her glorious rise to fame was short-lived. In 2013, Michael and Kristine Barnett found themselves in serious legal trouble after the authorities found Natalia living all alone in that dangerous apartment in Lafeyette, Indiana. An investigation was launched, and both the Barnetts were arrested in 2019 and formally charged with felony child neglect and the neglect of a dependent. So Sarah, you know a little bit about that apartment, right? And here they are. This is their lawyer. Let's tell us about the lawyer real quick.
Yes. Okay. So this is when they're both walking into the hearing separately, because during the course of this police investigation, I'll note that Michael and Kristine divorced in 2014, and it was nasty. They had a nasty custody battle and a nasty divorce. She kept the boys from him. He moved back to Indiana to live with his family, while she and the 3 boys remained in Canada. And as you can see, the gentleman behind Kristine is her attorney. And we'll be discussing him a little bit later because, as we said, there's so many layers. That attorney right there, friends, is a convicted murderer. He shot 2 college students, killing one and injuring the other. The judge sentenced him to 24 years in prison, but he only served 10 years and then was released.
And then is that before or after he represented the Barnett?
It was before. It was before. I can tell you that they both have attorneys that are extreme characters. Michael's attorney, Terrence Howard, he is actually has had his license suspended at least 3 times and has been facing disbarment. So
what a great guy he is.
It's quite a cast. It's quite a cast and a crew involved in this story.
So
we can see those pictures there in 2009, Halloween and Christmas. Look at the baby teeth.
Yeah. It's very clear to me that she is a child. She is not an adult in these pictures. So during the lengthy police investigation and prosecution of the Barnetts, what happened to Natalia? Was she left to remain all alone in that 3-story death trap? Did she go to live with Michael after his return to Indiana? How was she left to navigate as a supposed 9-year-old disabled individual suffering from dwarfism and so much more? How was she to navigate her life now that she had been re-aged and was legally 23 years old? Did she decide to take advantage of her new re-aging and live her life as a carefree adult, able to do whatever she pleased? Did she ever go live with any of the previous little people families that she stayed with before? Did someone find her and take her in? Was there anyone out there to rescue her? Was she injured or assaulted in that crime-ridden town filled with those, quote, white trash people? Most importantly, if someone did decide to take Natalia into their home, what deep, dark secrets were they about to discover? Had the Barnetts been telling the truth all along? Or was Natalia a violent sociopath? And was Natalia really an adult after all? So, we'd like to open up the panel to discussion, conversation, and questions. So you can either drop them in the chat, or if you would like to come up onto the panel about this case, we have dropped a thing so you guys can go ahead and pop in. And then the final picture that we have is this of Natalia, and she's supposed to be 6 years old here. Sarah?
Right. And unfortunately, I'm not able to see the chat, but
You can.
I would love, yes, I would really love interacting with the viewers. And I love answering anybody's questions. And back to one of the questions that you had asked before we started a little bit about the attorneys involved in this cast of characters, was about the apartments. And I can tell you the apartment that she was in Westfield, Indiana, was a 1-story apartment, but it was still not built for someone with disabilities.
Right.
And then the second apartment was actually a house. It was a 3-story house that had been converted into an apartment up on a hill. And she was on the 3rd floor.
Wow. I mean, I can't imagine her having to walk up 4 flights of stairs. Hell, I can't walk up 4 flights of stairs. Can you imagine this little, and I think she had braces and things, right? Like she had the little crutches and whatever, didn't she?
No, they left her without any crutches. They left her without a walker. They didn't even leave her with any orthopedic shoes.
Holy crap. And the neighbors are all complaining because, she'd come over and she'd be like, I'm hungry. Or she smelled, or she was weird. Well, she's 6 years old, 8 years old, 8 years old. These people.
They said, here's the thing everyone needs to remember is that Kristine had just browbeat her down and brainwashed her and told her that, when you go up and introduce yourself to anyone, you will tell them your name and you will tell them that you are 22 years old. She would say, I may look small, I may look like a child, but I'm really an adult. And she was threatened that was what she had to say. So when she is acting like a child and she's just randomly walking into people's homes and going to their refrigerator to get food, and she has body odor, and she wants to play and wrestle with their kids in the yard all the time, they think, that's weird. What 22, 23-year-old woman would do that? Well, she did not have boundaries because she didn't know them. And that's so important because we all know as parents, that's exactly how a child behaves. They don't know boundaries. They don't know that it's inappropriate to walk into someone's home without permission.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, this is an interesting statement. This person says, off topic, I remember seeing the documentary years ago about the paint huffing orphans in Romania and orphanages in the neglect and how the laws affect the people of having unwanted kids. Yeah. And I remember, these orphanages that she was in over there in Ukraine, the Romanian ones, the Russian ones, these are not good places for these kids, so coming here to America was supposed to be the saving grace for her. And not. I'm wondering what she's really like. It's odd that a child would be passed around so much. Is there any evidence of SA or trafficking in the literal sense? Sarah, can you answer that question for Outlander?
Well, you can imagine that any person that's been through what she's been through is going to have emotional and mental problems. They are not going to be okay. And, she was trafficked. She absolutely 100% was trafficked. As far as the SA, there is a lot of evidence that suggests that SA definitely occurred. And right now, she is currently filming season 3, which will be dropping later this year. Just for those that are wanting to know, we had 2 seasons. The first was The Curious Case of Natalia Grace. The second was The Curious Case of Natalia Grace, Natalia Speaks. And now they are filming the part 3.
Okay, and this person, Stargaze, says, I'm so glad she found a good family.
Well, which family would that be? Which family are you referring to?
Because none of them are good, and we're going to cover all of them. So at this point where we're at is we're in 2013. The Barnetts are still claiming that Natalia is an adult masquerading as a child. They're still claiming that she is a violent sociopath that tried to kill them and their 3 children multiple times. They claim she hid knives all over the house, and oftentimes they would wake up to find her standing at the foot of their bed holding a knife. Yeah, cult vibes on the new ones. Yeah, absolutely. Michael claims that Natalia told him point blank that she was going to kill them all. They claim she tried to poison Kristine and even tried to push her into an electric fence. And that was some bullshit. I can tell you that right now. I saw that clip. I watched that part and I was like, none of that fucking makes any sense. I'm sorry. I didn't use the F word. I'm so sorry.
Oh no. You got to put
is it going to be okay?
You got to put a dollar. You got to put a dollar in the oopsie jar.
I know Natalia's very, very adamant about not sharing her story without cussing. I guess it's hard for me to do it, but I'm trying really hard. But nothing about that fence thing made any sense to me. That was the stupidest story.
No, and it was completely debunked by the manager there at the cow farm.
Right. And so they even claim that she tried to get their younger sons run over by throwing their favorite toys out into traffic. Doesn't that sound like the movie Orphan?
Yeah, it sure does. An awful lot like it.
Awful lot like it. So the Barnetts claim to have medical records that prove that Natalia is in fact an adult with very serious mental issues and violent tendencies. Interviews are conducted with her neighbors at the Westfield, Indiana apartment complex that support the Barnetts. So the Barnetts decide to go on a nationwide media tour. For what freaking reason?
Oh, to share their side of the story. It was something that they were doing to get their story out there and to do damage control. They were under serious damage control mode.
Can you say cha-ching, 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 cha-ching?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
they're on almost every syndicated talk show and media outlet in the U.S. and began to even do interviews overseas. The spokesperson for the family is primarily Michael at this point in time. And that guy is super freaking weird. He is one of the weirdest people I have ever seen in one of these cases. Just strange.
He's everyone agrees. He is extremely nauseating. The way that he speaks, the way that he acts, the way that he's so over dramatic and flares everything. It's really almost nauseating. I use the word nauseating again because it is nauseating to watch him speak.
It is. And these outbursts that he does where he's like, we were all abused. What?
Yes. And if you go back and you're watching the documentary, they show his initial interviews in 2019.
Yes.
Then we go to the new ones for the 2023-2024 docuseries, where he's interviewed in 2022, and he tells a completely different story.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
100%.
A lot like what we've experienced in the Gypsy story. So,
Yes,
you know,
as a matter of fact, speaking of the Gypsy story, until she was released from prison, Natalia was number one in the world for talks and discussions and groups, and she was the hot topic until Gypsy was released.
Right. And so they're doing this damage control tour, but nothing is heard from Natalia for years and years. And so it's not until 2019, after the Barnetts are formally arrested, that Natalia appears on the Dr. Phil show to share her side of the story and update everyone on where she'd been living and what she'd been doing over the last several years. This, of course, now sets off an international media frenzy, and the public and social media goes into warp speed. But Natalia, she remains quiet. And why is that, Sarah?
The judge in the case issued a gag order on all parties. So after their arrest and she made her Dr. Phil appearance, the judge did put a gag order in place.
Right. And so Natalia Grace's story virtually disappears as the media wash cycle starts putting out another content, and her case is forgotten. It was not until The Curious Case of Natalia Grace premiered on ID in 2023 that the entire world was turned completely upside down and became absolutely consumed by the case. Debates began to rage online nonstop. Was she an adult? Was she a child? Thousands of groups were created across every social media platform. Things began to get nasty. Sides were drawn. Thousands of podcasts are launched. And it was all that anyone could talk about. And, I have experience in these Facebook groups from the Gypsy case. I had never been in Facebook groups before the Gypsy case, I didn't really even understand how they worked, what they were. And I'm telling you, I have watched admins and people inside these groups behave in manners that I have just never seen people behave. And I want to do an expose on the way that social media has distorted and made these cases so bad and villainized people and changed the narratives. And that was part of what I was part of. I changed the narrative of
Right. And they literally, I mean, there was a firm line drawn in the sand of people that believed she was a child and people that believed she was an adult. And it was a battle, and it's still an ongoing battle.
Well, it's the same battle that we have of Nick and Gypsy, and that I played a huge part in villainizing Nick. I didn't know I was. I didn't know I was incorrect. I was going off the information I had. But I played a huge part in social media, in regular media, in villainizing him long before he even got his trial, because I thought I was correct in what I was saying. And based on what I had, it's all I knew. It was one of the reasons why I had reached out to Bobby and Nick and told them, okay, so I've said some outlandish things about you, but the reason why is because I don't have any real information. So why don't you tell me the real information? And, people got in the way of that. And these cases, just like I said, there's been a narrative toted out about Gypsy, and we've only heard from the narrative from two people, Christy Blanchard and Gypsy Blanchard. We have barely heard from the Petrie family. We've barely heard from the Godejohn family, and this is the same thing. So in this case, the judge orders a gag order. So they've already done the damage. The Barnetts have already gone on every freaking talk show known to freaking man out there, villainizing a child and making her sound
but people
like
are still saying right, but people are still saying she's not. People are still saying she's not a child.
Right. And there was DNA testing now that is proven, yes, that she is a child, was a child.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So, it was all that anyone could talk about. And would we ever know if she was actually an adult or was she a child? And most importantly, that couple you said that she found that's really great, that some people are saying very cult-like vibes. Who are Antoine and Cynthia Mann? We'll dive into those questions and more in our next pre-recorded episode on Friday at 8 p.m. with a live chat. The baby teeth. They said she says this was the baby teeth that did it for me. Really, Atlantis, your cousin is in prison in Chillicothe, and I've heard some things. I'd love to hear some more things. So if you have some information, if your cousin has any information, you can get us at tipsforgoodwives@gmail.com. Let me put my banner back up here. But this was just a brief introduction to this case, guys. Murder by Design is going to be returning. We will have a live on Facebook and YouTube every other Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern. And then we will do a pre-recorded episode Friday nights at 8 p.m. And our host will be live in the chat during that premiere. So you guys can still interact with us, because we all do love interacting with our viewers, our subscribers. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow. Share this out there, please, guys, so that we continue to grow and we can continue to bring you guys such great content. On the screen right now is a couple ways that you can support us. So thanks so much for tuning in and dishing true crimes with the Good Wives and Murder by Design. Don't forget to join our Patreon member club to get exclusive mini episodes, inside documents, and pictures from the case. Live YouTube discussions, our exclusive discussion group on Facebook, and get some amazing Good Wives merch. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram as well at Good Wives Net. And we do have a buymeacoffee.com, which is buymeacoffee.com/goodwivesnet. We say buy me a case file because sometimes we do have to pay for some of the requests that we put in to get the documents that we get for these cases. We're not like your typical podcasters. We don't just go off of Wikipedia and documentaries and things we've seen. We like to feel, touch, and hold those documents in our hands. We like to, take the time to go through them piece by piece to really understand these cases. So,
and there's oftentimes a charge when you send in the FOIA request for the records.
Right. That's why we didn't get them really person.
Right. That's important for people to know, because that's the reason why, you're asking for anyone that wants to help support. It's greatly appreciated.
Right. And then part of our good, anything from the Buy Me a Coffee site, we do, we're working on setting up a fund to dedicate to cold case research and donating to some of the different various organizations that do that. We also have our own nonprofit that we're working on this year, launching and getting out there. It's called Stop the Cycle of Abuse Program Scope. And it is all about educating on intimate partner and domestic violence. And so anyway, guys, for more inside information, check out our podcast, The Good Wives Guide to True Crime, on any of your favorite podcast players. Have a good one from The Good Wives, serving up true crime, one dish at a time.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, guys. Thanks for watching.
Everyone, have a wonderful day. Stay safe.